It is time now for all things current in California politics. Joining me today, Rich Eisen, editor-in-chief of Capital Weekly publication. Rich, good to see you this morning. So in 2019, Gavin Newsom comes into office, got a $21 billion surplus. As we look at it this week, $18 billion budget deficit. Obviously, that's going to get a lot worse unless they start making steep cuts. What gets cut?
Well, I think first there's dispute as to how accurate that $18 billion is, because we know the tax revenues came in much higher in December than they had been projected. That said, something has got to give, right? I think a couple things are going to happen here. Certainly anything that comes his way that has a big price tag on it is probably not going to have any success, number one. Cuts, I think social services are always the first places that they look, because those are the things that they always look at. You can't really cut education spending because of Prop 98. There's a lot of other things that are baked into law that they can't address. So I would expect services to be the first thing to go. What
would be some, on the conservative side of the aisle, what would be their view of some superfluous things that we're spending money on that they would recommend we cut?
Well, they're going to not fill open positions in state government. That'll definitely be one. There's a lot of funding that's pass-through money that goes from, the state, actually sometimes from the feds through the state to the local governments. I know local governments are absolutely, on pins and needles right now about how many things might come down to them to fund homelessness programs, anything that's, daycare programs, things like that.
Yeah. AI regulation in the new year. This is still kind of the Wild West. California does lead the federal guardrail system, if there is such a thing. What are the biggest worries about AI going forward and additional protections needed so that this doesn't get out of control?
Well, I think one of the biggest things we're looking at is things like deep fakes, and particularly where it pertains to the safety of children. I think most people are familiar with this situation with ChatGPT where somebody was essentially convinced to end their life. But there's also, the use of AI in Hollywood, which is a really huge deal right now because it has a massive financial impact on one of the biggest industries in California. So those are definitely areas: online safety, AI related safety for kids, and how it affects industries like Hollywood.
Let's talk about gas prices. We have two major refineries in California that are going to close this year, Martinez and Southern California. That's going to reduce our refining capacity by 20% in this state. The projection is we could start paying $7 to $8 per gallon for gas in this state by summer. How does the governor run for president on that?
Well, it makes it really hard, that's for sure. I think one of the things that he's going to have to do, and they've talked about this, of course, is tapping into other, sources of getting oil. And,
Venezuela? I don't think we're getting Venezuelan oil.
I don't think we're going to be getting Venezuelan oil for many years now, and my guess is we're not going to see any of the profits from that at all. But yeah, they're obviously going to have to try to find other sources for this around the country and, globally. That's going to be what it is, because he cannot, if gas prices are $7 a gallon when he leaves office, that's a non-starter for him. So I think he'll do anything that is possible to ensure that doesn't happen.
Yeah, it'll be interesting because that summer blend does cost more anyway. And it'll just, people complain at $5 a gallon. $7 to $8, that's a game changer.
Well, and we're car culture here in California.
Yes, very much
so. That is probably where people feel these things the most, is at the pump. So he's not going to take that one lightly.
No, not at all. Rich Eisen, Capital Weekly. Thank you, sir.
Sure.